everyone, my name is Hannah, and I'm going to be talking about what's in a smile. Thank you. So, we all know that being happy will make us smile. But here's a question for you. Can forcing a smile actually make you happy? The simple answer to this question is yes. You see, as humans, we like to think that we have some sort of special insight into ourselves. But in reality, we use the same process to figure out how other people are feeling in order to figure out how we are feeling. In order to figure out how other people are feeling, we assess their behaviors. We intuitively think that someone's behavior reflects his or her attitude. If someone is smiling, we assume that they're happy, and if someone is frowning, we assume that they're sad. We actually make these same assessments about our own behavior. The self-perception theory states that individuals come to know of their own attitudes and emotions partially by inferring them from observing their own behaviors. Some of the specific behaviors that we tend to observe are our very own facial expressions. The facial feedback hypothesis states that our facial expressions can have an impact on our emotions. So here's an example of the facial feedback in action. So in an experiment, participants were asked to hold a pencil with their mouths in different ways. In one condition, participants were asked to hold the pencil with their teeth, which is the configuration that facilitates the muscles associated with smiling. In the other condition, participants were asked to hold the pencil with their lips, which is a configuration that inhibits the muscles associated with smiling. After this, participants were then asked to watch a cartoon and rate how funny they thought the cartoon was. Participants in the smiling condition actually rated the cartoon as being more funny than those in the frowning condition. So these results support the facial feedback hypothesis. Is it possible for us to use these results to our advantage? In order to fully understand the implications of these findings, let's first take a look at facial feedback in people who have facial paralysis as a result of an accident. So several studies show that people who have facial paralysis are likely to show symptoms of depression, with people who have a higher degree of smiling impairment being more likely to be depressed than people with a lower degree of smiling impairment. This suggests that not being able to smile makes having a positive mood harder to maintain. It is also possible to intentionally paralyze the muscles that we use for our facial expressions by getting Botox injections. So, people with Botox exhibit an overall significant decrease in emotional experience when compared to people without Botox injections. This further suggests that our facial expressions can have an impact on our emotions. So in the previous example, we were talking about using Botox injections to paralyze various facial muscles. However, they can also be used to paralyze specific facial muscles. In an attempt to get rid of frown lines, Botox can be injected into the corrugator muscles. These muscles are used in the expression of negative emotions, including fear, sadness, anger, and distress. So far, we know that paralysis of the smile muscles makes it harder to maintain a positive emotion. Therefore, it is also probable that paralysis of the frowning muscles or the corrugator muscles should make it harder to maintain a negative emotion. If this is true, then perhaps targeted Botox can be used as a treatment for depression. So several researchers tested this hypothesis by comparing mood scores of different emotions between people who had Botox injections and people who didn't have Botox injections. They found that people who had Botox injections had lower irritability scores, depression scores, and anxiety scores when compared to people that didn't have Botox. This suggests that perhaps in the future, Botox could be used as a treatment for depression. Up to this point, we've been talking about how our facial expressions impact our emotions. But is it possible for other nonverbal behavior to have an impact on how we perform certain tasks? Nonverbal body postures can have an influence on our performance on social evaluations. In particular, people who adopt high power poses, which are expansive and open, tend to do better on social evaluations than people who adopt low power poses, which are contractive and closed. In conclusion, it is important for us to know that our emotions can in fact be influenced by our behaviors. Being able to influence our emotions in a positive way is an important skill to have. So the next time you're feeling sad or down, try smiling. Or the next time you have a big presentation or have to perform an intense surgery, try striking a power pose. Simply engaging in these types of simple behaviors can have a huge impact on how you view yourself. So, what's in a smile? Well, sometimes being happy is what makes us smile, but sometimes smiling is what makes us happy. Thank you.